Hi everybody, I'm going to teach you how to mix your skin colors today. I kind of have this little example that I've been working on. Ignore the background here. I'm just going to show you how to mix up your skin color. So here I've got the little skin color that I already mixed up. And I'm just going to show you how I did that. If I can get it open. There we go. So basically what I did was I took yellow, red, and blue, if I could find it. Oh, here it is. I took yellow, red, and blue, small amounts, just a single glob, and I squeezed it, you know, each drop being about like that size, not even the size of a dime. Very, very small amounts. One glob of each color. And then I also added some white. If I could find more white. I added some white. Actually more white than the rest of the colors because if you look at my skin, I'm pretty fair, so I added a ton of white. You mix that all together, and then you'll get probably a color that's not exactly what your color is. So you're gonna have to adjust that by adding some red, maybe some yellow, and depending on your undertones, maybe a little bit of blue too. Just keep playing around until you get something that looks relatively like your skin color. And just remember that if your mixture gets to green, let's say, you'll add a ton of red. If it gets to purple, you're going to add a ton of yellow. If it gets to blue, you're going to add a ton of orange, so yellow and red. So whatever color it looks a little too much on, you know, the side of maybe red, green, you're going to add the opposite of that color to neutralize it. Okay? Eventually you'll get your skin color. And this is an easy part. You're just going to paint a thin layer of that color wherever you see skin. Okay, I'm even painting over some of the pencil here, because it's a very thin layer. I can still see the pencil coming through. I'm not going to paint over my eyes. My ears. And my neck here. Okay. On my hands. And my arm here. Okay. all done. That's my skin base tone. So now I'm going to show you how to mix up your shadows. I'm going to wipe my brush. Put a lid on this. Alright, so I already mixed up my shadow tone somewhere. Always losing something. Where did it go? Oh, it was hiding. Okay, so I already mixed up my shadow tone, and my shadow tones is darker than my base color. So basically what I did was I poured out some of this into a new container, and you can just use, these are like little sauce containers that you get with like takeout, but you can also use like some sort of plastic disposable container. You can use pretty much anything that you can dispose of later, but I poured out some of this into here, and then I just added equal amounts of yellow, red, and blue, and I got kind of a darker version of this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to look at my reference. Here's my reference. And I'm going to see where the darkest values are. So I have some here, under my eyes here, over here as well, some kind of up here where my hairline is, and some underneath my chest or my neck here, as well as on my fingers, my knuckles, some shadows. So identifying where these shadows are, I can now look at my reference and I'm going to draw where my shadows are going to be with pencil. So underneath my eye, like so. Pretty much this whole side here is in shadow. A little bit underneath my hair, on my neck, on my fingers, a little bit down my arm here, and there we go. Okay, pretty simple enough. I'm going to take my shadow color now. I'm going to put that wherever I drew those shadows. Okay, almost there. Try not to get too much paint on your brush at a time. You can always have a little bit, but it's hard to get it off. Alright, I'm going to put the little shadows in my ear here. There we go. Whoops. Rinse it off. Okay, so those are my skin shadows and my base. For your skin highlights, you're basically going to do the same exact thing, except this time I don't really have a container. I'm just going to pour a little bit into my cup here, or my palette. Looks like foundation. I'm going to take some white, if I could find it. I swear. Oh. Alright, I'm going to take some white. Just going to take a little bit of white and put it in here. Mix this up. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay. And just like I did with the shadows, I'm going to go over to my picture here. I'm going to identify where all my highlights are. So right about here, there's a highlight on my chest, on my wrist here. That's pretty much about it. There's not a lot of dramatic lighting. So I'm going to go in, and you can, draw where the highlights are going to be as well. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. There we go. Rinse. And that is your skin tones. You've got your shadows, your highlights, and your base color, your midtones. Okay? So now you can do basically the same thing with the rest of you. I'm going to mix up a little bit of brown here for my hair. All right. And I'm just going to put that base color down throughout the entire thing. It's a little bit too red. Still a bit too red. You may need to do more than one layer for everything, pretty much. Do my eyebrows here. You can even do the pupils, which are going to be hard to do because my brush is large. There we go. It's hard to get it brown with this particular paint. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you over here on this top part how to do some highlights for the hair. So this is my base tone that I mixed up here. Mix up some more of it. Okay. Basically gonna do the same thing that we did with our skin tone. That'll be my highlight tone right there. I'm gonna warm it up a little bit. So this color will be my highlights. And I'm gonna go back to my reference here, and I'm going to see where all the highlights are. So the top of my head here, and maybe some little strands down here, but mostly the top of my head. I'm gonna go in very carefully, and you can kind of do like this back and forth motion. On the top of my head. A little bit down here. You can kind of put them in randomly, but mostly on the top of my head. You can even lighten it up a little bit more. Top of my head. There we go. Rinse. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of black, actually, to my mixture here for my shadows. And again, I'm going to go look at my reference. Never guess where your values are. Just always go back to your reference. And I'm looking at it and I'm seeing a lot of shadows in here where my neck is. So that's where I'm going to put it. And again, you can kind of do like this wispy back and forth motion, always following the direction of the hair. Put some in here. There we go. So there's your hair highlights, base, and shadows. Okay. All right, so I hope that helped. I'll probably do another video on how to do clothing, but I'm gonna stop here so that y'all can process that and get that going. Let me know if you have any other questions about this. And I'll be here. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a good day.